Hi Vicky. Now, I would like to ask you a few questions about the NLP training you do.
Yep.
Am I correct that you do practitioner, business practitioner and master practitioner training?
That's right. I work together with Fiona Campbell Consultancy, specifically with Fiona Campbell. She has her company up here in Birmingham and I have my company in London. And we offer practitioner, business practitioner as well as master practitioner.
Okay, so what would you say is the main areas that you specialise in within the training?
The biggest thing that we always aim to do, and something that is very, very close to my heart, is for people to realise that whatever's going on in their lives is something that they are creating. In other words, they're the cause of the effect that they have. Because once people do that, once people can actually claim responsibility for what is going on in their lives, they have power to make changes. So that is the first thing that we do. And the second thing is to then give them the tools of, number one, understanding how that process works, and then how to make that change. Because there's no point in just saying, right, take responsibility, understand this is how you do it, and have a nice life. So we give them the tools on how to then make lasting changes.
So what are the main things that you would expect your students to take away from your training?
The first thing is to actually take a knowledge of how things happen, how they create the behaviors, how they create their thoughts, and how does this all manifest in their lives? What is it that happens when they do certain things?
Okay. Now, I know you're very knowledgeable with what you do, very experienced. Where did you gain your experience? How have you got to the stage you're at?
Well, I went and I started my NLP training with Paul McKenna Training, which was Paul McKenna, Michael Neal, and of course Dr. Richard Bandler and John Lavelle. And when I did my master's, Paul asked me to become an assistant, which was a fantastic gift for me because I'm still assisting Richard Bandler and John Lavelle on all their trainings. And it's just given me the platform to learn something, go away, study it, listen to Richard Bandler's CDs, DVDs, read the books, then go back and do another practitioner assist and apply all the knowledge that I've learned and see it again, revisit it all again and just keep putting it back together again. And the thing that I've always looked for is when somebody would stop me and say, can you explain this, can you explain that, what does this mean, is for me not only to have the knowledge to explain it as what the textbook says, but to be able to explain it in the simplest form possible so that people can learn quickly.
Brilliant, because I know you're very, very good at that. But also, lots of people will turn around and say, how on earth can people learn in 7 days and 9 days? Because I know it's 7 days for your practitioner and 9 days for the master practitioner. So what can you do? What would you recommend to people to do in between or in addition to actually attending a course?
Well, practitioner is exactly what it says, is you start to practice, you get an understanding and you get knowledge. We use accelerated learning techniques to pass on that knowledge, but what makes it really happen is what they do after their practitioner. So going away and using the knowledge in real life and noticing and picking little things, like say for instance when we teach them all about the language patterns, which is where I really specialize myself. The easiest way to do it is what John Lavelle told me to do, which is what I did, is number one, pick one, write out as many of those examples as you can and keep creating them, and then go out in real life and look out for them. Where is it that people use them? Because the wonderful and the magical thing about NLP is not that it's something different or something new or something that we've just created or that Richard Bandler has created, but it's a methodology of an attitude. It's something that we already do. So what we're doing here is we're awakening people up to see it for themselves in life and then notice it in themselves and then say, well, what are you going to do now? So by taking what you've learned and then taking it out into your real world and seeing where it fits is the biggest learning you can do.
So within I know you do business practitioner as well, within the business practitioner, do you actually demonstrate or show people how they can fit this into the business world?
Well, yeah, because on the practitioner level, we're basically teaching it at a very, very generic level. And, you know, then people go away and they'll fit it into their coaching or their therapy or whatever it is that they're doing. But when we do it in business, because there's a question that's been asked many, many times when I've assisted is, how do you put NLP into business? And I'm like, well, how do you not? Because it's not something, again, that only happens outside of business. It's behavior. So behavior is everywhere. And if you look at most business structures, if you look at most corporates and things like that, the structures work. What makes a company not work is the human factor. And the human factor is based on behavior. So when you start to actually show people how this fits in and how this starts to enhance communication, how it seems to help learning, it helps strategies, it helps project planning and project management, modeling success, getting confident, being able to present better. It's all to do with the human factor. The limitations that people have are within themselves. And with the NLP skills, what we're teaching people is, number one, to become aware of how they create that limitation, and then give them tools and skills on how to remove them so they can have a compelling future.
Brilliant.